All right, welcome. You ever feel like you've got these huge ambitions, but just no time? Yeah, me too. Well, if that's you, you're in the right place. Today we're going to dive into some amazing ideas from Dany Hile's book, Time to Start Your Next Big Thing.
So, the book starts with this really powerful question, and I want you to seriously think about it for a second. Forget your to-do list, forget everything else. If someone just handed you 2 extra hours today, right now, what would you do with them? Like for real? And I'm guessing your answer probably looks something like this, right? Spending more time with the family, finally starting that side hustle, writing the book you've always talked about. These are the things that matter. But they always seem to get shoved aside because, life is just busy. But what if I told you there's a system to fix that? Well, guess what? There is. The book lays out this super clear 5-step path to get you from chaos to actually being in control. We're going to start at the very beginning with your why. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of focus and organization. After that, we'll tackle how to actually start doing stuff. And finally, how to build a system so you keep it going for good. All right, first things first, finding your why. And look, this isn't about downloading another productivity app or buying a fancy new planner. Nope. This is about the one thing that's way more important than any of that. Having a clear direction, a compass for your journey. And this quote from Mark Twain just hits it right on the head, doesn't it? The two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. It's so true. Being productive without a purpose, that's not productivity. That's just being busy. You have to know why you're doing what you're doing before any time management trick will ever work. So how do you find that why? That's where a personal mission statement comes in. The author uses this great analogy. Think of it like the final destination for your ship. Life's going to be a stormy sea, right? Things get chaotic. But if you know exactly where you're headed, you've got this inner calm. It's your anchor, helping you steer through whatever waves come your way. Okay, so you've got your destination, you know your why. Awesome. But how do you actually steer the ship? That's what our second section is all about, the art of focus. This is your toolkit for productivity in a world that is literally designed to pull you in a million different directions. I love this way of thinking about focus. We usually think it means saying yes to one thing, right? But Steve Jobs put it perfectly. Real focus is about saying no. A lot. It's about saying no to 1,000 other things, even the other good ideas, so you can pour everything you have into the one that truly matters. So, to help us say no to the right things, we have to get really clear on a huge distinction the book makes. And that's the difference between urgent and important. They sound similar, but they're not the same at all. Urgent stuff screams for your attention right now. But important stuff, that's what actually gets you closer to your big goals. And spoiler, they are almost never the same thing. And this matrix, it lays it all out perfectly. You've got 4 quadrants. Now, most of us, we live in quadrant 1. Just constantly putting out fires. And we get dragged kicking and screaming into quadrant 3, all those pointless interruptions. But the book says the real magic, the secret sauce for success, happens in quadrant 2. That's the stuff that's important, but not urgent. That's where you plan, where you're proactive. That's where you build your next big thing. Here's another total game changer for focus. It's called the Pareto principle, but you've probably heard of it as the 80-20 rule. And the idea is, well, it's kind of mind-blowing when you really think about it. It basically says that a tiny fraction of what you do is responsible for almost all of your results. So think about it like this. About 20% of your effort, your input, is creating a whopping 80% of your success, your output. So your job, your mission, is to figure out what that critical 20% is, and then just pour all of your energy into it. And for everything else, you learn to say no. Okay, so you've got your mission and you know what to focus on. Great. But now we need a system to handle all the chaos of everyday life, right? So let's talk about getting organized. One of the best ideas for organizing your time is this big rocks metaphor. Think of your big rocks as those super important quadrant 2 goals, the stuff that really matters. The whole idea is to put those in your calendar first. If you schedule your big rocks, you'll be amazed how all the little things, the pebbles, the sand, just kind of fit in around them. And what about all the stuff that hits you every single day? The endless emails, the random papers. Well, the book has this beautifully simple 4-part system. For anything that comes across your desk, you do one of 4 things. Period. You either throw it away, give it to someone else, do it right then and there, or file it away. That's it. Simple, right?
No more piles of clutter. All right, on to section 4. And this is a big one. Because you can have the perfect mission, you can have laser focus, a perfectly organized desk, and still find yourself completely stuck, not doing anything. So why does that happen? It's all about the mental roadblocks. Let's dive in and figure out how to smash through them. So we really have to ask ourselves this question. You know that feeling, right? You know exactly what you need to do. You even have a plan for it. But for some reason, you just don't do it. What is really going on there? What's the real reason you're stopped? Well, according to the book, it almost always boils down to one of these things. Fear is a huge one. Fear of failing, fear of what happens if you succeed. Or maybe it's just a lack of motivation, or you're just paralyzed by having to make a decision. You know, just seeing this list can be a huge relief. It's not some personal failing. It's not just you. This is what we all struggle with. So how do you actually break through that? The author gives us this awesome little mental flip. You know the old saying, keep it simple, stupid, or kiss? Well, that's great until things get, well, not simple. So instead, he says we should think, make it simple, stupid, or MIS. The idea is to just accept that, yeah, this is complex, and then your job is to actively, purposefully make it simple. And here's the game plan to do just that. Look, don't try to climb the entire mountain in one go. Just focus on taking a single step. One small action that you know for sure you can do. Then you break that huge goal down into tiny milestones. You keep your eyes on the prize, the positive outcome, and this part is absolutely crucial. You have to reward yourself when you hit those milestones. Celebrate the small wins. Okay, so doing all this is fantastic, but how do you make it stick? How do you keep the progress going next week and the week after that? That's what our final section is all about. We're going to create a flywheel, a cycle of reviewing, rewarding, and repeating that just builds and builds on itself. And this quote from William Faulkner just nails the mindset you need for this. He said, try to be better than yourself. See, the point of this whole review process isn't to see how you stack up against other people. Forget them. This is about you versus you. It's just a simple, personal journey to be a little bit better today than you were yesterday. And the process for doing that? It's really simple. You just look at what you accomplished compared to your goals. You reward your successes. That's how you make those good habits stick. And if you miss the mark, no big deal. Don't beat yourself up. Just look at it like a scientist looks at data and ask, okay, what did I learn here? What can I do better next time? Then you just keep repeating the good stuff until it's second nature. So that brings us full circle, right back to the beginning, but hopefully with a totally new way of looking at things. It turns out the problem isn't that you don't have enough time. The real problem is usually a lack of direction. Every single one of us gets 24 hours in a day. The question is, now that you have this system, what are you going to do with yours?